Shalom, 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 Israel. This is Captain Paul Israel from Kingdom Builders of Israel, LLC. And today's class topic is going to be on Yahweh's chariots are the spaceships, biblical proof. Again, Israel, today's class topic is going to be on Yahweh's chariots are the spaceships, biblical proof. Okay, Israel, get out a pen and notepad for this particular lesson. So we're about to get into this lesson concerning Yahweh's chariots are the spaceships. So now we're going to start out in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 1, verse 3, to get the understanding of the prophet Ezekiel, understanding pertaining to Yahweh's chariots, which are those spaceships of understanding. So Ezekiel, the prophet, who was a Levite priest, right, and he's given this understanding of a vision that the Most High Yah is going to give unto him of the chariots of the Most High in person. And Ezekiel, the prophet, was actually in this understanding in this particular verse in the book of Ezekiel chapter 1 verse 3 in the land of Babylon, based upon the location of this understanding. Because when you get this understanding, you're going to understand that Ezekiel the prophet in this particular verse right here, he was not located in Israel at this time. He was located in Babylon, which is of course in today's time modern day Iraq. So let's get into this lesson concerning Yahweh's chariots are the spaceships. Ezekiel chapter 1 verse 3. It says this: the word of Yahweh came expressly unto Ezekiel the priest, the son of Buzi, in the land of the Chaldeans, by the river Chebar, and the hand of Yahweh was there upon him. So again, it's just getting the understanding that Ezekiel the prophet was in the land of the Chaldeans, which was ancient Babylon, which of course in today's time would be modern day Iraq location, because it says in the land of the Chaldeans by the river Chebar. So we're going to prove this understanding that where it says in the land of Chaldeans by the river Chebar is concerning the location in Babylon, which is modern day Iraq location. So we're going to go to the understanding on Google, and it's going to prove that the river Chebar is located in modern day Iraq location, which was ancient Babylon's location. The river Chebar, also known as Kabar Canal, is believed to be located near Nippur in ancient Babylonia, which is now part of Iraq. So this is just the understanding that I had to bring out, this understanding to prove that the scholars know that the river of Chebar is located in modern day Iraq of today's time, because ancient Babylon was located in the location of today's time in modern day Iraq. Okay, so that's what we had to bring out, this understanding. So now we go back to Ezekiel chapter 1 verse 3 again. The word of Yahweh came expressly unto Ezekiel the priest, the son of Buzi, in the land of the Chaldeans, by the river Chebar, and the hand of Yahweh was there upon him. So Yahweh is about to present a certain event to the prophet Ezekiel, who was a Levite priest, while he was in the land of Babylon, okay, which is basically modern day Iraq. So let's continue this understanding. Ezekiel chapter 1 verse 4 is going to elaborate on a vision that Ezekiel the prophet saw in person, okay, of Yahweh's chariots, okay, being described as the spaceships of understanding. Ezekiel chapter 1 verse 4. And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, and a fire enfolding itself, and a brightness was about it, and out of the midst thereof as the color of amber, out of the midst of the fire. So Ezekiel the prophet is just elaborating that he's seen a great cloud. This great cloud is going into the chariots of the Most High. Okay, this great cloud is going to what we call in today's time a big spaceship, because it said a great cloud. So this spaceship was not small. This particular spaceship that Ezekiel the prophet saw was a large spaceship. Okay, just look at the visual of understanding. This is just an example. It says this again, a great cloud and a fire enfolding itself, and a brightness was about it, and out of the midst thereof as the color of amber, out of the midst of the fire. So it's just establishing that Ezekiel the prophet saw this chariot, which is going into this spaceship, as being like a form of brightness, as equivalent to like fire is brightness. But this particular spaceship, right, or spaceships, had the appearance of being a ball of light, exemplifying power. Just like if you look at this particular visuals right here, this is somewhat of the example of the visuals of the chariots exemplifying fire-like light activity being positioned around the ship, because the chariots of the Most High exemplify power, equivalent to like a fire ball or something like that. Just look at these examples. So this is what Ezekiel the prophet saw in a vision. But he's targeting the understanding of this particular one great spaceship, which he referred to as this great cloud. So we're going to elaborate where it says great cloud is getting to the Most High's chariot, which is going to those spaceships of understanding. So we're going to prove that where it says cloud in Ezekiel chapter 1 verse 4 is going into the spaceship, which is going to the chariots of the Most High. Okay, Psalms chapter 104 verse 3 is going to prove that the word cloud is getting into the spaceship of understanding. So let's get to this understanding in the book of Psalms chapter 104 verse 3 that was written by King David. King David understood that the chariots of the Most High was going to be what in metaphor terms as being the clouds. As you can see, the prophets of the Most High wrote in code. So let's read Psalms chapter 104 verse 3. Who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters, who maketh the clouds his chariot, who walketh upon the wings of the wind. So you see this, Israel? So it says, who maketh the clouds his chariot. That's the key point I want to get out of this particular verse. Who maketh the clouds his chariots. So Yahweh has chariots that's being used as a metaphor as being as clouds. It says, who walketh upon the wings of the wind, because the chariots fly in the wind. They fly in the sky, equivalent to like a bird that has wings flying in the sky. So King David is elaborating that Yahweh's chariots, or these spaceships, fly in the sky, basically used as a metaphor as being like clouds, because clouds are positioned in the sky. So this metaphor for the chariots is getting into these clouds. As you can see, this understanding. So now we go back to Ezekiel chapter 1 verse 4. Ezekiel the prophet says, I looked and behold. So Ezekiel the prophet is seeing with his own eyes a whirlwind came out of the north. So this whirlwind is getting into Yahweh's chariot. A great cloud. So now Ezekiel the prophet is saying that he saw a big spaceship coming out in a certain direction. And a fire enfolding itself, and a brightness was about it, and out of the midst thereof as the color of amber, out of the midst of the fire. So Ezekiel the prophet is seeing the chariot of the Most High in this context as being a big spaceship, as far as being a big spaceship that had equivalent of a lot of lighting surrounding the ship, as if it had a ball of fire wrapped around the ship, because again, Yahweh's chariots exemplify and push off power. So Ezekiel the prophet is elaborating that he saw a big old spaceship in the sky. So now we go to Ezekiel chapter 1 verse 16 to get to the point of this understanding about Yahweh's chariots are the spaceships. Biblical proof. Ezekiel chapter 1 verse 16. The appearance of the wheels and their work was like unto the color of a beryl, and they four had one likeness, and their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. Whoa, wait a minute. You see this, Israel? So again, Ezekiel the prophet is elaborating more specifically on the design of this particular spaceship, but it's really going into the chariots of the Most High. He's saying he saw a wheel within the wheel. He said he saw a wheel in the middle of a wheel, because at the bottom of the spaceship, he saw what appeared to be a wheel turning on the bottom of the spaceship. Okay? Equivalent to what you see in this example. As you can see, the appearance of the wheels. So a wheel is circular. So he's seeing in this understanding that the chariot of the Most High is circular. That's why he says a wheel in the middle of a wheel. So he's seeing the bottom of the ship being positioned in the sky, and he's seeing this particular spaceship as being circular, pushing off a lot of power with a lot of lighting effect around the ship. That's what Ezekiel the prophet is elaborating. The reason why I'm bringing this out is to elaborate because we have many doubters in today's time on the spaceships or these chariots being real. But when we see the evidence on the news, we see the evidence from witnesses of the understanding of seeing these vehicles in the sky, people still in the world don't want to believe. But you're about to see this in real time in full effect, you children of Israel, because the chariots of the Most High are about to invade the earth soon. Based upon Yahshua the Mashiach's, the Black Messiah's arrival to earth to judge the wicked. Because sin has reached an all-time high in the earth. And the day of judgment is at hand. So, as you can see this point, Israel, that even Ezekiel the prophet said he saw the chariots of the Most High. Okay? Ezekiel the prophet was a prophet of the Most High, and he's not going to tell no lie. He saw this spaceship or this chariot with his own eyes in his understanding. And this is in the Bible. Because in the Christianity faith religion, they don't teach about Yahweh's chariots as being the spaceships. But as you can see, Ezekiel the prophet said he saw a circular spaceship vehicle which is going to these chariots, which is metaphorically going to these clouds of understanding as being very large. Okay? Ezekiel the prophet seen these things with his own eyes. So you're going to see this news clip after this particular lesson right here to explain the example on what Ezekiel saw from the Old Testament of understanding. See, we're going to let this Bible be true and every man a liar. So Ezekiel the prophet was telling truth that he saw a spaceship that was circular. Just like when you look at this picture right here, you see a circular spaceship, right? So now we about to get into this news clip where you can see the movement of this particular ship, okay, which was basically being pushed off in the sky in a so-called Middle East location. Even the military got footage of this understanding, okay, because the U.S. government knows the chariots of the Most High are about to come to the earth soon in full effect. The government knows these things, but they're not going to tell the people that live in America this, because that will put the people in America in panic mode. But as you can see, the chariots of the Most High are coming. So you Hebrew Israelites, you've been warned year after year of the invasion of the Most High's chariots to the earth coming soon upon Yahshua the Mashiach, the Black Messiah's arrival. So Israel just watched this video on this particular big, large chariot of the Most High flying in the sky, appearing to be circular. Okay? So basically, you're going to watch this news clip and see it for yourself. At the end of the day, Israel, y'all need to repent. Other than that, Israel, shalom.
Tonight on The Future of Everything, we've got some new UAP video from filmmaker and journalist Jeremy Corbell, who is standing by to break it all down. But first, here's a little bit of a closer look. This is a freeze frame. This is with some boosted contrast of what appears to be a disc-shaped object captured back in 2020, possibly somewhere over Afghanistan, Pakistan, the border there. Roll the video here. Jeremy says that this was filmed by some sort of asset, DOD asset, and forward-looking infrared shot from above looking down, and was, according to Corbell, the U.S. Air Force describing this object as possibly navigating through the clouds. There's no heat signature that you can see here. Nothing you would expect for a normal aircraft as it dips its way through. We're told the Pentagon logged it as a UAP, but so far it has not appeared on the Aero public list. That office tracking this stuff, whose official response to our request for comment was, quote, "We have nothing to offer." So Jeremy Corbell is the host of the podcast Weaponized. He joins us on set. Jeremy, good to see you. Welcome back.
Good to see you, man.
All right, so getting into this, navigating through the clouds, like, I hate to even bring this up, but that sounds a lot like Jordan Peele wrote it in Nope, right? That's what we saw a little bit in Nope. What's going on here? What are we looking at?
Yeah, so for a couple years of investigating this footage, right, making sure it's authentic, where it came from, that was the running joke, was that it looks like the movie Nope. What we're seeing here that's different than ever before, you know that I've obtained and released with George Knapp thermal videos of UAP. Now, our government has admitted some of what we've put out. They've admitted their UAP. I'll tell you this, I'm not saying it. That was in the original footage. It says UAP navigating through clouds. They called it a disc. I'm not even calling it a disc, but what you're seeing is first shape. I have never seen in all UFO history, when it comes out of military, an actual circular form. It was amazing to me. Second is the movement. When you see it make an abrupt turn from your left to your right when you're watching it. And the third thing that really was astonishing to me, this is in thermal. There is no heat signature of traditional propulsion. It is a perfect looking disc. Maybe it's an orb. I don't know, but I do know this. Our Air Force passively captured it. Then they said that this is a UAP. It is still designated a UAP. So when George and I obtain and release these, it's so the public can see, we're hoping to do a little bit of the job that we're not seeing with folks from Aero.
And now, it does say AI enhanced. There, it looks like there's some artifacting around it. What is the actual video, and what is possible artifacts from trying to boost the contracts and see what's going on here?
So we did an analysis of the video, but what I did was make sure to put out the original things that George and Knapp and I obtained. So you see it clearly says video 1, video 2, video 3. Our own government, because they've been studying this in the intelligence community since 2020, they did a sort of rudimentary, I would say, kind of highlighting or enhancement of it. And that's why you see like a white ring around it.
This 2020 enhancement. This is like pre-ChatGPT, pre-AI revolution here.
So what we did was we went in there just so people could see it better. We make it very clear, AI enhanced, because it changes the shape. It's a perfect sphere or a perfect circle, depending on angle of observation when you watch it. So what we did was heighten contrast, and we also made sure that you could see as it goes into the clouds. We punched in. So the military videos are the ones that are black and white. The ones that we tried to enhance so people could just see a little bit better of shape and movement is kind of more blue.
And I mean, it's circular, and this is looking down at Earth, so you're looking at the clouds. Like, is there a chance that this is just a balloon?
Right. So if you look at the movement and you look at wind, and this is why we put it out to the detectives online, but our military doesn't think so. Our military called it a disc. Our intelligence community has been at this since 2020. Now, look, when assets like this get out to journalists like me and George, we're not experts at this, but we know and can report that our military calls us UAP, like every piece of footage we've put out. It's fascinating, man. And I think this rides on a much bigger and more important topic, which is that there are whistleblowers, and there are 3 who have confirmed to me, firsthand whistleblowers, that they will testify under oath publicly at Congress. Congress needs to respond to this video. It is time for them to respond to this, because I have people that are willing to testify at the next congressional hearing on UAP.
Yeah, whether people like it or not, I mean, you have become the conduit for so many of these videos here. The military, to us, the DOD is like, we have nothing to offer on this, and yet we don't see it on the Arrow website. What part of this would be classified? Like, why wouldn't this be listed?
I am not qualified to assess that kind of answer. I don't know. But what I do know is that every time that George Knapp and I, we obtain and release footage, it is funny how Arrow then puts out something that looks similar, but is not similar. Why don't you just put it out to the American public? I'm actually asking them to do so. They should do so, just like all the videos that George Knapp and I obtained and released. And when they do put stuff out, a lot of times what they do is they just take what was already publicly available, like the Tic Tac UAP. And you might remember I released a Tic Tac UAP from 2023. This is ongoing, man. And I'll tell you one last thing about this. This is the tip of the iceberg. What you're seeing here. George Knapp and I are committed to reporting on our best evidence, and you're seeing a part of that now.
No, that means that you got more. That means that there's other stuff. I know you well enough to...
I hope that the world gets to see more, better, diverse footage. I am not in absolute control of how the world receives things, but as a journalist, I am going to fight to get as much out as humanly possible.
Got it. And real quick, what's the update on Capitol Hill? Like, sometimes it seems like there's progress being made towards some sort of disclosure. Next thing you know, it's completely forgotten. No one's talking about it, and it seems like it's fallen off the radar. Like, when are we going to get answers?
It has not fallen off the radar. So Representative Luna has a task force. Representative Burleson is being vocal. Representative Burchett is fighting the fight to get transparency on UAP because UFOs are real and they show us something. They demonstrate a technology that we cannot replicate. Even Arrow has to admit that. So the American public wants to know, are we going to have hearings? And I'll tell you this, man, I have constant talks on a weekly basis with everybody organizing, including David Grush, who still works in government as a whistleblower now. He got a job working with UAP task force or whatever they're calling it now. There will be more hearings. If they have courage, there will be more hearings. And I have 3 firsthand witnesses that they can put up to testify.
We're looking forward to witnesses. We're looking forward to more evidence. Jeremy Corbell, so good to see you.
Fascinating topic, isn't it?
Yeah, always a fascinating topic.